Hello. Hopefully we are live.
How you doing, Dan?
I think we're live. Hopefully. I'm good, mate. You okay? Yeah, good. How about yourself? Yeah, I saw you guys the other day. Yeah. Glad to see you guys here too. You soon?
Get yourself safe, mate.
Yeah, you too, mate. It's fucking crazy here. Yeah. You know, Manchester's very dangerous, guys. Right, I think we are sorted. Yes, we are. Let's go. Alan Schnackbar. Let's go. Let's go, Denmark. We're here in Manchester. It's Billy Moore.
Hello, mate. You okay?
I'm good, Billy.
Coffee yet, Bill?
Everyone's here. We're going to be here standing with Israel.
Keep going as far as you can.
What's your head that you want?
You will score on the rebound.
You will be seeing the light in a minute.
Does Helen score on the rebound? Who are you?
One and only UK.
One and only UK.
Yeah.
One and only UK. What's that representing?
You know the Chesney Hawk song?
Oh my goodness me. Chesney, you've not aged well, mate.
No. Got to bring it back. Yeah, it's all a joke, isn't it? I am the one and only. You can't take that away from me. Wow. Exactly, guys. That's why we're here. Let's go. A lot of people we know. I won't go that way. It seems a bit busy. It's a beautiful sight, isn't it, for us all coming together in solidarity. Great to see so many people out supporting. It's what we need, people not giving to this terrorist understanding that's against us.
Because I've got an idea where you work.
Hello. Okay. Yeah, good. How it sells?
Yeah, not too bad. Trying to get in because of trams.
All right. Look at there's like literally a car park here.
Yeah, well, we just got on the tram, you know, from Ultra.
Yeah. It's so long.
There was no trams to Bury, so we had to go through Piccadilly.
Right.
Which is not too bad.
No.
Because we'd arranged to meet everyone at 10:30, we were late.
Right. Oh god.
But never mind, really.
Yeah, thank goodness. Don't want to be too late. Want to be early. Make sure we're here on time. Yeah, of course. Of course. Go straight to the Fallowfield after this one. Yeah, I've got a car in it.
I've got a car, just don't like driving.
I find it quite easy. It was a lot better like 20 years ago. The city was so much easier to move through. Now it's all one-way system. You've got to have a sat-nav so it knows. Do you know what I mean? That's what I did. It told me all the one-way systems, so I got here dead easy. Let's go, everyone. Right, our station. I'm independent. Yeah, I just do YouTube. My name's One and Only UK. I protest against Antifa and the migrants and all the stuff that's going on in Britain. I went to the Tommy Robinson rally on the 13th. I was in the Labour Party conference. Yeah. Well, I don't think I'm going to be with Nigel. I'm not with GB News, and I'm not with Reform. I'm with Advance. It's Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe, the guys who actually made and institutionalised Reform, because Nigel's been so callous of what he's done. For me, I would say nobody's picked Nigel. Nigel picked himself. So, because I was part of Reform, I was supposed to be part of the people's voice, and we never got to vote on Nigel. I'm out. He's already broken the deal with me. So it's that test, isn't it? Is he the People's Party? I'd probably say no. I think it's just another Tory where he's just gone catch the drips of the Tory Party falling apart. So,
Everybody else wants a flag.
and you can tell because it's gone from 22% with Ben Habib, and when they kicked him out, it's only gone up to 28%. So Nigel's really not that popular. The party's a popular opinion, and Nigel did get us out of Europe, but again, it was like, I've done my job. And as a salesman, if I sell something, you see it through to the end. Exactly, yeah. I think he needs to write a manifesto so we know who he is, and then he can stand on that, and he won't be able to flip-flop around. But yeah, it's beautiful to see everyone here. I'm so glad to see the solidarity. Oh yeah. Tomorrow is.
Tomorrow night.
Right.
So people get registered for bills and also the funeral.
Is that alright if I record your voice? I'm not recording your face.
The funeral of one of the victims is now, so people want the funeral.
Yeah, of course.
We're supposed to bury as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tragedy. Absolute tragedy.
Quick, because they're being nabbed.
Discussing with David Manning was at the rally.
I saw that was disgusting.
And the marches were allowed to, the planning marches were allowed to there was something like 500 arrests. There's no arrest today. And
No.
that won't be reported on mainstream.
Yeah. That's the biggest problem I've got. It's like the mainstream media seems to be an arm of the government.
And what they don't realise when they talk about some of the guys is the reports that come out are 300 times because they don't want to be seen.
No, exactly.
The facts are that there are people saying, we're brave enough to say there is food, and that what's not been mentioned is how many of the casualties in Gaza are because Hamas is going to
Yeah.
the media don't mention obviously the children, and we just want all Israelis ever wanted is to live in peace with neighbours.
No, I know.
And
I can see how many times you've tried.
It's all very well talking about the two-state solution, but they want the one-state solution with Israel right to come out.
Exactly.
And the institutions in this country just don't seem to understand.
No, I don't think they do.
And recognising that it's a mistake without conditions.
It's like rewarding for the terrorism that they've done. That's the biggest problem I've got.
They stand there and say they support the Jewish people, but actions don't match what they're saying.
No, exactly. It's just words don't actually matter. It's your actions that matter most. You know, not the actual words you're saying. Because you can just say anything you want, but if you actually don't do the job, I mean, it's the biggest object that people need to understand.
There are a lot of very good Muslims against the terrorism that's going on. But I'm scared to speak out because they'll get bumped off if you do.
No, of course. Because of the belief of the religion, so it's very dangerous, isn't it? That's why I'm here. I used to live in the Middle East, and I know. Yeah, you're right. They do.
Having Jeremy Bowen and reporting on Israel is just, it's like having in the past, Sinn Féin reporting on Ireland.
Yeah.
He's very anti. One of the things that's never come across is when the Syrian civil war started, 3,000 Syrians came across to Israel and got treated, even though there wasn't a deal with them.
No, no.
And they said they've always been, it came into my Facebook, and that was never, and I'd sent so much stuff to the BBC on an anti-scam, and they never ever.
Yeah, but it doesn't fit their narrative. That's the problem. No, I mean, I don't. Oh, I know, yeah.
So they need to look at some of the channels because they're just very inciting.
It is inciting, I believe.
So the Jewish
No.
We don't go around children.
No. Yeah, of course. That's the biggest problem I've got. There's like a double standard instead of a single standard held on everyone.
A lot of people and the UN are wasting time.
They are, yeah. I think they're one of the biggest problems. We should never have institutionalized them, I believe. They've been like infiltrated by evil.
Oh my god. Oh, you're bro.
Thank you very much for your conversation now, yeah.
I've seen it.
Right.
Oh.
Let's have another pull around.
You know what would have been good for the Home Secretary to do?
But I wore it.
It is nice and busy. It's great to see so many people. Definitely a good amount of people here. Let's stick my hood up. Well too windy. What's that got on my fucking face? Actually,
Friends, my name Northwest Friends of Israel to deliver this important event for our community today. When we spoke about this rally several months ago, the focus was obviously on commemorating the atrocities that were committed on the 7th of October 2023. However, events that transpired on Yom Kippur in our community mean that we need to reference certain individuals and exactly what happened. I'd like to pay tribute to Adrian Dolby and Melvin whose funeral is taking place this moment whilst we are here today. There are no words that will comfort their families, but I hope the fact that we are all here united will resonate and provide some comfort to them. To Yoni, Andrew and Bernard, who were injured in thwarting the terrorist attack, our prayers are with you for a full and speedy recovery. To the security team at Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation, my synagogue, who fought every human instinct and ran towards danger instead of being away, thwarting what would have been an even greater tragedy than the one that we are dealing with today. Thank you for your bravery. Rabbi Daniel Walker is a hero. Protecting his community physically and emotionally. I was with him immediately after Yom Kippur, and his sole concern was for the well-being of those families who had been murdered and the injured. Amanda Bonstick and the team at CST, what a credit you are. For decades, you have all worked tirelessly to keep us safe. And again, their first responders ran towards danger to look at neutralising a deadly threat. And again, alongside the stewards from Northwest Friends of Israel are here today to keep us safe. So thank you. Our Chief Constable, Sir Stephen Watson, Greater Manchester Police, the Chief Fire Officer, Dave Russell, the Police and Crime Commissioner, Kate Green, and the Northwest Ambulance Service, whose response was exceptional. We always speak about how fortunate we are to place our trust in remarkable people whose job is to keep us safe, and their response did not let us down. To the leader of Manchester City Council, Bev Craig, the Chief Executive, Tom Stannard, to the Metro Mayor, Andy Burnham, and his Chief of Staff, Kevin Lee. They were in touch with us within an hour of the incident taking place, promising us we would have whatever we needed, and they came through and more. I would like to pay tribute to those civic and religious dignitaries who attended our rally at a few hours' notice in the pouring rain on Friday. Being Jewish in the UK over the last 2 years has been a very lonely place. We have been screaming about the abuse we were suffering in all sections of society, and we were largely ignored. I would like to thank those people from outside of our community who are joining us here today for standing in solidarity with us. I now invite Rabbi Amir Elitub onto the stage for some prayers and a moment of silence.
At this moment in time, we have in mind the families of the bereaved, those who are injured, and when we pray together Shir HaMa'alot, have in mind for the release of the hostages, the safety of our beloved IDF, true and lasting peace for Israel and the whole Middle East, wisdom and actions and not platitudes by our political leaders, and the confidence to show our Jewish pride and identity on these streets. After Shir HaMa'alot, we will have a minute's silence, and at the end of the minute's silence will be marked by the sounding of the shofar, which heralds freedom. Those who can join in, please do so. Shir HaMa'alot, Esa enai el harim, me'ain yavo Ezri, Ezri me'im Adonai, Ose shamayim va'aretz, Al yiten lamot raglecha, Al yanum shomrecha, Hine lo yanum velo yishan, Shomer Yisrael, Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha al yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka, veyareach balayla. Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra, yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmor tzetcha uvoecha, me'ata ve'ad olam.
Our first speaker is someone who needs no introduction. In all the many years I've known him, he has bravely called out the delegitimization of Israel and anti-Semitism on our streets and online. A true modern-day hero is Rabbi.
We are not Jews with trembling knees. We stand here today as proud British Jews and Zionists, at one of the most pivotal moments in our lifetimes. Israel, the nation-state of the Jewish people, faces an existential threat from both known enemies and supposed allies in a way not seen over 50 years, while Jewish life here in the UK is increasingly under siege, and the result of which visited us in the most violent way here in Manchester at Heaton Park Synagogue on Yom Kippur, when two members of our community, Adrian and Melvin, Zichronam Livracha, were murdered simply for being Jews. We stand here today to remember those innocent people murdered on October the 7th by Hamas and many Palestinian civilians, the 48 hostages, both the living and the dead, still held in the terror dungeons of Gaza, and for whom we demand an immediate release, and the brave IDF soldiers who have given their lives defending Israel. It is clear that many people have forgotten the horrors of October the 7th. So let me remind them. On Simchat Torah 2 years ago, over 1,200 people were butchered, shot, burned and beheaded by the genocidal Jew-hating terrorists of Hamas. Babies, children, women and men. Many women and children, and some men, were raped by these Islamist butchers who walked around casually and joyfully carrying out their murder while shouting, Allah Akbar. Thousands more were wounded, and 251 were taken hostage into the depths of Gaza. Most of those people yearned for peace with their Palestinian neighbours. It was the single biggest murder of Jews in one day since the Holocaust, and one that was celebrated both by Hamas and the overwhelming majority of Gazans. And Hamas made it clear they would do it again and again. And so, exercising the right every state has to defend itself, the brave warriors of the IDF entered the most complex urban combat environment any Western military has ever faced. A battlefield above and below ground that Hamas had prepared for decades, and which ignored the laws of war completely. Going over and above what was required of any army, the IDF took extraordinary measures to warn and protect civilians. Many of us here have family and friends who are serving or who have served in the IDF. Let me be clear. We know that the IDF is the most moral army in the world. What did Israel receive in return? A growing movement of Western governments, including our own UK Labour government, displayed an ever-increasing willingness to believe the lies and propaganda of Hamas and its Islamist and far-left supporters in the West. Our UK government then decided to betray Israel at the ICJ and the ICC, issue sanctions, and 2 weeks ago rewarded Hamas with the ultimate prize of Palestinian statehood, for which Hamas thanked them, calling the recognition the ultimate fruits of October the 7th. Let that sink in. Hamas thanked our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. And these actions emboldened Hamas at that time. Despite repeated warnings that recognition would reduce the chances of freeing the remaining 48 hostages, the Prime Minister ignored them. He offered feeble words about their release, while demanding concessions from Israel, our democratic ally, a vital source of intelligence, and a frontline defender against Islamist terror, without imposing any cost on Hamas. He incentivized the very terrorism he claims to oppose, all to appease anti-Israel voices in his own party. Having defeated Hezbollah, significantly weakened Iran, and hugely degraded the Hamas, the axis of evil, Israel now faces another front seeking to damage it, while simultaneously strengthening its enemies, naive, arrogant Western governments led by our own Prime Minister. We will not forget his betrayal. Thankfully, Israel has one true friend in President Donald Trump, who we hope will now bring our hostages home and, together with Israel, ensure the final defeat of Hamas. And let me say this directly. The Prime Minister's inaction in this country has endangered British Jews. For 2 years, our community has faced unprecedented Jew hatred. Physical assaults, online abuse, vandalism, anti-Semitic marches turning city centres into no-go zones for Jews, mistreatment in the NHS by pro-Palestinian medics, intimidation in schools and on university campuses, workplace purity tests excluding Zionists, meaning Jews, from professional and creative spaces. Never have Jews in the UK been under such attack, and it is not an exaggeration to say that our government's demonisation of Israel and inaction and failure in tackling the examples I just gave has played a significant part in allowing this Jew hatred to flourish and to making many British Jews question the in our country. When you fail to act on constant calls to globalise the Intifada, the results are that the Intifada came to our Manchester Jewish community with horrific consequences. Shame on them for allowing this hatred to flourish. This too, we will not forget. But Israel has faced existential threats before and defeated them. The Jewish people have survived 3,000 years of enemies who sought our destruction. We repeat what we said last year. We are not Jews with trembling knees. Whether in Israel or here in Manchester, we will stand firm against those who seek to harm us and defeat us. We are strong. We are proud. We are proud Mancunian Jews. Never again means never again now. As Joshua 1:9 says, be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid, nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. We are not Jews with trembling knees. Am Yisrael.
We are delighted to have Sharon Haskell with us this morning. Sharon is a member of the Knesset and the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs for the State of Israel. She is a passionate defender of Israel's security, a champion of free speech and democracy, and a tireless advocate strengthening Israel's voice in the world. Please welcome Sharon Haskell.
Wow. I cannot explain to you how it feels to see all of you after this horrendous attack out in the open with British flags and Israeli flags, waving it out proudly. You are so brave. Thank you. dear Alan Levy, Chair of the Trustees of the Heaton Park Synagogue, dear Ambassador Daniela Ruski, that is here with us today. Thank you to our friends at the Northwest Friends of Israel, the Jewish Representative Council, and I want to begin by thanking the entire brave Jewish community here in Manchester for inviting me here today. Thank you. We gather here today in grief and in anger. Two British Jews, Adrian Dolby and Melvin Kravitz, were murdered at Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue in Manchester on Yom Kippur by a terrorist. On the holiest day of our calendar, in the days just before the second anniversary of the 7th of October. This was a terror attack directed at the very soul of our community. The Jewish community is under attack, and I am here tonight to express my solidarity with British Jews all around this country, to call out the anti-Semitism that's out of control in the UK, and to mourn the lives of those who were murdered. May the memory of Adrian and Melvin be a blessing for us all. How often have we in Israel and the Jewish community in England warned British officials that anti-Semitism is out of control in the UK, that it would lead to a tragedy, that if tens of thousands of Muslim marchers in the streets supporting Hamas and the police and the government does absolutely nothing to stop them, the next step will be inevitable. Terrifyingly, we saw this week that those warnings came true. And I say clearly, more of the same from the British government is completely unacceptable. What is the UK government going to do about the tsunami of Jew hatred and violence on Britain's street that has exploded since the worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust on October 7? 2 years ago, on October 7, our daughters were raped. Our grandparents were burnt alive. Our families butchered, one after another, in the worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust. I stand before you with a heart that is completely shattered, not only because of that horrific day, but because even as victims of this war that was caused by Hamas on that horrific day, we are witnessing not just attacks on our people, but a battle of values, a clash between civilization and barbarism, between the principles of morality and the lawlessness of hatred. Our societies are built on justice, human dignity, and the protection of the innocent. Our enemies, however, celebrate cruelty, revealing suffering, and seek the obliteration of those who stand for decency. This is more than a conflict over land or politics. It is a struggle for the very soul of humanity. And we cannot remain silent in the face of such evil. Neither can we afford to lose. Our lives continue to be threatened every single day, even when we are abroad. The fact is, it is unsafe for Jews in the UK. Here in Britain, the United Kingdom, a nation whose moral strength and military might helped defeat the Nazi monster and bring about the destruction of that evil regime. And yet today, here, as a Jew, I am not safe in your streets. I'm threatened with death for nothing more than my very existence. I stand before you in a bulletproof vest, a Kevlar vest here on this stage.
Wow.
I'm not allowed to be here without it, not me and not the Israeli ambassador. Not because of some imaginary fear, but because real people have been violently attacked, real people have been murdered. I just met now on the way a Jewish citizen here from Manchester. We hugged and cried. She was telling me about the violence and the hatred towards children here, towards the Jewish community, and I know that because of my family. My cousin's daughter cannot go to school. She's homeschooled now for a year because she was stabbed in her classroom by a Muslim student, and her school did nothing to protect her. She can no longer study within the education system. Her only crime is being Jewish. Today we commemorate the thousands of lives brutally stolen by monsters. We remember the 48 hostages still held in the dungeons of Hamas 2 years later. And yet so much of the world seemed to have forgotten it was that cult of torture and hatred that started this war, and yet they refused to hand back our hostages. Meanwhile, governments around the world, including the UK, have rewarded Hamas by recognizing a Palestinian state. It is an absolutely disgraceful. And we commit ourselves to doing everything in our power to bring them home. But as we remember them, we must also acknowledge a painful reality. We are surrounded by forces that do not merely threaten the state of Israel, but the very existence of the Jewish people.
So many people.
We are witnessing violent attacks against Jews all around the world. We are living through dark times. Our homeland, the eternal refuge for Jews, is needed now more than ever. For generations, Jews believed they were safe in the nations they called home. But today, many are once again forced to flee as governments don't take serious actions to fight death threats and racism towards Jews. And yet, I want to thank every single one of you here today. It takes immense courage, true bravery. It comes out these times, to stand here, to speak out against evil, to show moral clarity. I will not apologize for defending my daughters. I will not apologize for defending my people. I will not apologize for defending my country. We must remember that in the darkest day of Europe, the Nazi death machine was defeated by those who cherished life, liberty, and truth, by those who stood firm in their values, faith, and traditions, and love of history and culture. Every Israeli, everywhere in the world, seek peace. We have always sought stability and coexistence. But the 7th of October was a wake-up call, not only for Israel, but for the entire world. You cannot appease an enemy who seeks your annihilation out of religious fanaticism and ideological hatred. Such an enemy must be defeated. So today, we remember the faces and lives taken from us in the most unimaginable way. This week in Manchester and on the 7th of October. May God grant peace to their family. May their soul rest in peace. And may God protect us all. Thank you very much. Am Yisrael Chai!
During this impossibly difficult time, we are blessed to be led by a once-in-a-generation communal leader. Someone whose grace, poise, dignity and humility resonates with everyone who he meets. Whoever you speak to about Mark Adstone, whether that's his members of staff or the people at the highest levels of government, they have nothing but admiration for him. So please welcome to the stage Mark Adstone.
We gather today in deep sorrow, but also in unity and resolve. We mourn the deaths of Adrian and Melvin, and we pray for Yoni, Andrew and Bernard's full recovery. The 7th of October will be forever etched in our hearts as a day of unspeakable brutality. The atrocities committed on that day were not only an attack on Israel, but on the very values of humanity itself. Men, women, children, entire families slaughtered, tortured, kidnapped, raped, simply for being Jewish and for living in the land of Israel. So let us be clear, this is not an act of resistance, it's an act of terror. Terror can never be excused, justified, or forgotten. So as chair of the Jewish Representative Council of Greater Manchester and Region, I stand here with pride.
Thank you.
Pride in our community and with unwavering solidarity with the people of Israel. Our community has always stood. Our community has always stood shoulder to shoulder with Israel, and we are all here publicly to reaffirm that bond. We say it proudly that Israel has a right to live in peace, free from genocidal terrorists who perpetrated the 7th of October massacre. Israel not only has a right, but also has a duty to defend itself and to secure the safety of its citizens. No country in the world would or should tolerate such attacks against its people. But today is not only about grief, it's also about strength and hope. The Jewish people have faced persecution throughout our history, and time and again we have shown resilience. And Israel stands today as the homeland of the Jewish people, a beacon of hope and of survival, and it will not be destroyed by hatred. To our friends and allies here today with us, we thank you. We thank you. Your presence matters. Your presence matters, your voices matter. At a time when misinformation and hostility abound, your support brings light and strength to our community. And to those who try to silence or intimidate us, we will not be cowed. We will remember the victims. We will demand the return of our hostages. We will continue to speak truth loudly and proudly. On this day of commemoration, let us honour the memory of those lost on the 7th of October. Let us embrace the survivors. Let us renew our unshakable commitment to Israel's right to live in peace and security. Am Yisrael Chai.
It is my pleasure to introduce the current charge d'affaires, currently the most senior diplomat in the Israeli embassy, Daniela Ruski, ex-team. Daniela has served as an advisor in the Prime Minister of Israel's office, as a political advisor to the Israeli Foreign Minister, and in the Israeli Embassy in Moscow, prior to becoming the Deputy Ambassador to the UK in 2021.
Friends, thank you. Mark, thank you. Rabbi, the entire staff of the Northwest of Israel and the Jewish Rep Council. Thank you for being here at this incredible dark time. Just 3 days ago, as innocent men and women were walking to the place of worship to spend their day in prayer and reflection on the holiest day of the year, they were murdered, rammed, and stabbed. A vile act of terror against a community, a city, a country, and a people. Melvin and Martin Dolby were killed by a man that was inspired by the demonstration that walked these streets. Our thoughts and heartfelt prayers are with the families of the murdered. We also pray for the wounded and affected by this crime, and for their swift recovery. And so, as Mancunian Jews sadly will sit Shivas with the rest of the community in mourning and the wider city in grief, your presence here today means so much. It shows your incredible strength. By standing here right now, you are sending a clear message. We will not be beaten. We will not hide. We will stand our ground. Know this. Israel is with you, as you have been there for us every day since October the 7th. Now we are here for you. We stand united with the Jewish people of Manchester and every single British Jew. Today, 2 years on, we also stand united in the memory of the 1,200 victims of terror. We stand united in prayer for the brave men and women of the IDF. We stand united in demanding the immediate release of our 48 hostages still being held captive in Gaza after 730 days. 730 days.
That's crazy.
It has also been 2 years of growing anti-Semitism and anti-Israel hatred. This week's tragic event had sadly demonstrated how real and tangible the threat is, and how imperative it is to act against it with the full force of the law and without compromise. Is it the same ideology that 2 years ago led Hamas terrorists to invade Israel? Just because we are Jewish, just because we are Israelis. Whether it is here in the UK or in Israel, together we face rising prosecution. And yet, you have not given into discrimination and intimidation. You have not stopped standing for the only Jewish state. As we rebuild our lives following the atrocities of the 7th of October, together we will overcome the world's oldest prejudice, united as one. And despite all of this, the Jewish community in the UK has not only survived, it has thrived, which is a testament to all of you. Now, we must also look ahead. Since the dark day of October the 7th, our message has never changed. This war can end today if all the hostages are released. And now, we're in the midst of hope that this dark chapter is coming to an end, that our 48 hostages will be released and that Hamas's capabilities are dismantled, so it never poses a threat to Israel again. And to our friends here in Britain, let us renew our faith in the future. Let us stand united, Israelis, Britons, Mancunians, and all who cherish freedom, determined to overcome hatred, to defend what is right, and stand on the right side of history. Because together, we will prevail. Together, we will bring them home. And together, we will ensure that light triumphs over darkness. Thank you. Toda Rabbi.
The next speaker is the proud uncle of Emily Damari, a remarkable young woman who was taken hostage from Kfar Azar on October the 7th and held for 15 months prior to her release. Emily's mother, Mandy, led an international campaign to secure her release. Emily's ordeal also included the loss of 2 fingers, and her injured hand gesture has become iconic. Emily's fortitude and continued public advocacy after her release has been a focal point across the globe. Please welcome Rob Moss.
This is going to be tricky, but to use 2 hands here. Good morning, folks. I'm here representing my family, the Moss family, the Damari family. Emily and Mandy. I'm sure some of you met Mandy a couple of weeks ago. She was at your vigil in Manchester, and she couldn't speak any higher of all the people that she met on that day. Firstly, thanks so much to Rabbi and the Northwest Friends of Israel for inviting me to Manchester today, and obviously my condolences to the families of Adrian and Melvin and your whole community. A year ago today, strangely enough, I was stood at the side of the stage, just like this one, in Hyde Park in London, in between the Israeli ambassador, Zippy, and Chrissy from EastEnders, strangely enough, whilst my sister Mandy Damari, who miraculously survived the terrorist attack of October the 7th, implored the British government to do all it could to free her kidnapped daughter, my niece, Emily Damari, from the terror tunnels of Gaza. I remember thinking on that morning, thank God it's not me having to speak in front of the thousands of people. But now, here I am up north, beyond the wall, so to speak, and I can really appreciate the pure, absolute panic she felt giving her first public speech in the UK. So thank you for indulging me. But listen, it's a true honour and it's a privilege to stand here today amongst such esteemed company. And I don't mean the politicians, by the way. I mean you, all of you. All of you who come out here week after week here in Manchester and across the country, in Leeds as well. I can't not mention them because that's where I live. Holding vigils and rallies for nearly 2 years now. You've stood in the cold, in the rain, and here's some today obviously, and put up with the vilest abuse to demand the release of the 48 remaining hostages and to make sure that they are never forgotten. And hopefully now that we are closer than ever to that goal, we can only hope and pray that this time both sides honour the terms of the current peace deal and that all remaining hostages are finally returned to their families. Families who, don't forget, have also endured 2 years of absolute torment. I'm absolutely convinced, and I was at the time as well, that your prayers, your thoughts, your words, your very presence in these sort of vigils and the rallies that you attend made a massive difference. That collective strength contributed massively to the release of my niece Emily Damari after 471 days in captivity. And the fact that you're still here today, still raising your voices for those who haven't yet come home, it's nothing short of remarkable. On behalf of my entire family, thank you from the bottom of my and all of their hearts, and especially Mandy and Emily. Since her release, Emily, her mother Mandy, my sister, who many of you would have seen, as I said, a couple of weeks ago, and maybe even on social media at the weekly rally in Sharon Negev last night, which is pretty similar to this. I've been to it, and there's probably as many people there as well. They do that every week. It was a place where a lot of people were killed in the desert, and really they go there to remember and to demand the release of the hostages. I I suspect last night they were quite jubilant. Hopefully they've got something to be jubilant about come the end of Sukkot. And the rest of the family, we haven't stopped advocating to try and get every last hostage back home. In public and behind the scenes, we continue to do everything in our power to push those in positions of influence to stop playing geopolitical chess with human lives and to bring the rest of them back to their waiting families, who, believe me, and because I know this from personal experience, they have endured their own 730 days of hell. We won't stop, and neither should you, until every last hostage is returned. Of the many still missing, and Emily would want me to say this, the two closest to Emily's heart are the twins Zivy and Gally Berman. Now, I can see Gally up there, so I'm pleased to see his face. I've seen Zivy as well. They're her lifelong friends and protectors. They were kidnapped alongside her from Kibbutz Kfar Aza on October the 7th, and they are still there rotting in those tunnels. Emily said this morning, I think, in the Sunday Times, how on earth could they possibly have spent another 9 months there after her? They must have the strength of God, I suspect. Emily has said many times that she can't feel truly free until they too are safely home. And now, we may be closer than ever to that moment. All we can do is keep hoping and keep pushing. Now, this is why I'm really here, because sometimes, especially after the dark days that you've suffered this week, and I can't imagine the unimaginable pain that your community has been through, hope is basically what keeps us going. Hope is the thread that's run through our entire journey. Through the nightmare that began on October the 7th and every day since. Even in the darkest hours, we believed Emily would come home. I can't even explain exactly why. It wasn't logical, but we held on to it because it was all we had. That hope was the fuel that kept us going. And yes, we were lucky. A lot of people haven't been. Our story ended with a homecoming. Many others did. But from the very beginning, I believed Emily was alive and that one day she would return, and thank God she did. Despite everything, despite the trauma, the time lost, the injuries, she remains physically and mentally strong. Of course, she's missing a couple of fingers, as you all know. I would like to do the signs, because it's what she does. But she hasn't lost an ounce of her fire, and neither has her mother. They are a force to be reckoned with, and I'm sure you've seen several of their speeches and her speeches over the last couple of years. So, once again, thank you. Thank you to every single one of you for standing up, for speaking out, for refusing to let the lives of the hostages be forgotten. I know, especially after the horror of Friday's atrocity, it's hard to see anything but darkness ahead. But we have to remember, hope dies last. And while there is still hope, there is still light at the end of this long tunnel. And I'm really sorry for that, but it's true. You can see it coming through the clouds now, just right moment. How perfect is that? Anyway, I'll leave you with this simple message. Bring them home now.
Since his election to Parliament in 2019, Israel and the Jewish community has had an incredible friend in Christian Wakeford. I can testify personally that I'm only ever a phone call away to advocate for our community and Israel. Due to his position as a government whip, he is prevented from publicly speaking and has broken with centuries-old protocol to insist that he is able to address us here today. So please welcome Christian Wakeford.
Thank you, friends. 730 days ago, we, along with the world, woke up to the awful news for what can only be described, and we have to call it for what it is, the pogrom of October 7th. 730 days, there are still 48 hostages. And as Rob just said, bring them home now. I'm actually really happy to see a Nova Festival flag there as well, because there's another message we need to send, and it's that they will dance again. It started before, but over the last 2 years, the Jew hate in this country, across the globe, has exploded. It's exploded on the streets, on social media, in the NHS, in universities, and just about everywhere we can see. That is what has led to what happened the other day. We hear the message many times, never again. Never again has happened. Words seem hollow, and I see the banner down here. No more words, we demand action, I demand action. Turning to the news on Thursday, I, like all of you, was alerted to breaking news, to numbers of messages, wondering just what is going on. It doesn't seem real when you see stories like this anywhere else in the country or anywhere else in the globe. This was our town. This was our neighborhood. This was our streets, our shul, our friends, my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
It still doesn't feel real now. It's surreal. I'm just like all of you. I feel shocked, but I don't feel surprised. But to Melvin Kravitz and Adrian Dolby, may their memory be a blessing. To Andrew, to Yoni, to Bernard, may we pray that they have a full, speedy recovery. But let me go separately to Rabbi Walker, to Alan Levy, and to all those who rushed towards danger that day. I'm not sure I can do that.
Right.
And I think if everyone looks inside, I don't think anyone can answer that question until it happens. They will have my eternal gratitude for running towards danger, doing the right thing, and saving lives, because that is what they did that day, and they are heroes. That word is far too overused in the society, but they are heroes. I will remember one particular scene from that day, and I was by the cordon for several hours, speaking to as many people from the community as I could. But when I was outside the Jewish Cultural and Leisure Centre, just around the corner of Park Road, we stood outside and had a young family going to pray. Their girls were the same age as my daughter, and the gratitude I saw in their face as they said to CST and to the police, "Thank you for keeping us safe." We shouldn't need that. It's wrong that we need that. And the Jew hate that we have allowed to propagate, it has to end now. As I said 2 years ago outside Manchester Central Library for the first vigil following October 7th, I will stand by you, I will pray by you, and right now I will cry by you, because the community is crying, it is hurt, it is angry, and rightfully so. But right now, Rabbi Walker said outside the vigil on Friday, it is time as a community to improve your Jewish lives. I go further and say it is time as your friends to improve our lives by being your friends. A great man and a great friend has already said today, you are not Jews with trembling knees. You are proud Mancunians. You are proud Brits. You are proud Jews. And I am a proud friend of this community. But I go further and say, for all those friends who have had trembling knees, who have stayed silent, there is a call to arms now. You need to stand up. You need to stand by this community. You need to show you are a friend. You need to stand up and be counted. That is my challenge to every single friend of the community, whether they have been loud or silent. It is needed now more than ever. Never again means never again. It's already happened. It's too late. So we say it again. We say it loudly. Stop the Jew hate. Stop it now. Am Yisrael High.
I'm delighted this morning that we are joined by Robert Lgan, the former Member of Parliament for High Heath, who during his term in Westminster was repeatedly on the front line in advocating for the Jewish community and Israel in the chamber, on the media, and despite personal threats to his safety, he was fearless. Please welcome to the stage Robert Lgan.
I don't stand here as a former Conservative MP. I stand here as a proud Mancunian who grew up in Whitefield, the grandson of a plasterer who helped build Whitefield Shore, the son of a postman who started off as a Shabbos Goy in Rawson Park. I stand here to be with my friends. I wish I could say that I was surprised, but that would be untrue. This had a feeling of inevitability about it. It's been nearly 2 years since the 7th of October, when the rape, murder and abduction of Jews thousands of miles away in Israel led to large numbers of people in our own country taking to the streets to celebrate, to gloat, to intimidate, to incite. You would think such a moment would lead to deep existential reflection about how we have brought ourselves to this point. Instead, we've seen an endless escalation of incitement, constant victim blaming, glamorization of Islamist terrorists like Hamas, brazen anti-Semitism, obsessive calls for the destruction of Israel, open cries for intifada on our streets. As time has gone on, things have become worse and worse. Many in politics and the media, who should know better, have felt the need to pander to those doing the incitement. Some in a desperate hunt for votes, others in a twisted desire for relevancy, and even more troubling, a few out of genuine conviction. And now, Jews are being stabbed and murdered in Manchester as they go to pray on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Coming home on Thursday evening, listening to the radio, I heard a Jewish man being interviewed, explaining how he had a decision to make soon, to stay in Britain and live in fear, or to leave his home behind and live in safety elsewhere. My heart breaks to hear such thoughts spoken out loud. I wish I had some words of hope and comfort to offer you all, but I fear we are heading to a very dark place and true. Cowardice and wishful thinking brought us here. This didn't just happen in the last 2 years. This has been decades in the making. Like bankruptcy, such things gradually and then suddenly. I choose to look back in anger. But anger isn't enough. I look out today and see you all, and I feel hope. There is good in this world, and it is worth fighting for. We will stand firm, and good will prevail. I stand with Israel, and I stand with all.
We stand with Israel.
Our final speaker is Carmel Bird. Carmel served in the Israeli Air Force as a lone soldier, having left her home in Finland to volunteer during the Second Intifada. She was decorated for outstanding service. She is the chair of Manchester UGIA and is a board member of the British Israel Chamber of Commerce. Please welcome Carmel.
Friends, we stand together to commemorate those we lost, those we are still missing, and many who continue to suffer. And we stand in shared grief for the senseless murders of Adrian Dolby and Melvin, who simply wanted to reflect and pray in their synagogue on the holiest day of the year. 2 years have passed since the pogrom of October 7. 2 years since we woke from our dreams into this nightmare. But instead of nightmares of our sleep, or we try to force our eyes open, instead, we're trying to force them shut. Jewish homes were burning once again. Jews pulled out of their beds and beaten and killed. Women raped. Young people who went to dance chased and murdered. 2 years in which Jews are scared to go on public transport. 2 years of fear and discrimination in the NHS and at universities and in the BBC. 2 years of seeing those so filled with hatred and so lacking in humanity that they have marched in support of rapists, kidnappers and murderers, and they've ripped down the posters of our hostages. 2 years since my friend Hannah Perry, who is the sweetest lady you could ever meet, was kidnapped at the age of 79 and thrown into the hell of the tunnels. 2 years since she saw her sons for the very last time. Rui was shot dead whilst he was fleeing his burning home, and her son Nadar was kidnapped and later murdered. 2 years since Dina and Evgeny Kapisha were murdered in their car together with their 2 children. 2 years since the body of Shani Luk was paraded through the streets of Gaza while civilians threw sweets from the balconies and cheered. 2 years in which we have faced rejection and denial and cruelty and gaslighting, no longer just from the fridges, but now as part of mainstream life. Authors whose stories once moved us, actors we admired, comedians who once made us laugh, and musicians we used to sing along to. We now see them stripped off their masks for what they truly are, weak and cowardly and lacking in morality and decency.
The thing is, bro, I'm not even a Zionist, so why am I here?
For Jewish students, it's no longer enough to choose a university based on where offers the best courses or the best social life, but now where they will be safest. To the vice-chancellors and the lecturers who have allowed their campuses to become hotbeds of anti-Jewish racism, shame on you.
Shame on you.
When I moved to Britain 20 years ago after my military service, I was proud to be moving to the country which has led the free world in the fight against fascism. Today, as a Jew in Britain, I feel ashamed. Our government is not only no longer a staunch ally to Israel, it is now actively hostile, repeatedly siding against Israel and rewarding those who carried out and supported the terrorist atrocities of 2 years ago with the performative and unlawful recognition of a state.
Hey.
Since Jews were allowed to settle in England, has there ever been a time where so many Jewish families have sat at their Shabbat tables and discussed whether we have a future here than under this one?
Yeah.
And as gangs of the hateful have gathered in our streets in the immediate aftermath of the Yom Kippur attack to celebrate the slaughter of Jews, I ask our Prime Minister, is this what you meant when you said you would do everything in your power to keep us safe?
I'm not sure.
Well, know this. Whatever happens, we will not be silent. We will shout. We will not go quietly. Know this. The words, never again, are not our plea. Those words are our promise to the world. Never again. Because it's very simple. If you stand with Israel, you stand with freedom, you stand with democracy, and you stand with the rule of law. If you stand with Hamas and their allies, then you stand for jihad and against Israel, liberal democratic values. Choose a side. And do remember the words of Bereshit of Genesis. I will bless those that bless you and curse those that curse you. Because we have had almost 4,000 years of pride history behind us. We have faced worse and have outlasted the Greek and Roman empires, the Spanish and Portuguese inquisitions, the Nazis, the Soviets. We will outlast this. But do not expect us to risk our lives for empty European promises. We have seen too many times your failures.
Oh God.
We are not alone today. There are many standing here today in body and in spirit from outside of the Jewish community. To be a friend of Israel and of the Jewish diaspora at this time takes two things. It takes moral clarity and it takes bravery. In standing with us, you have shown that you have the highest of those qualities. Thank you. Thank you. The hatred we have faced, the cruelty our brothers and sisters have suffered, has made us closer.
Thanks.
We have shown strength and unity, but it's not enough. We must all do more. A time when young men and women, some of them still teenagers, fight deep inside Gaza against jihadist death cult and keep Israel's borders and skies safe, we have a duty to fight the war against disinformation, defamation, and hatred. As a former soldier, I can attest to the reliance and determination of the magnificent young men and women of the IDF. We must match that courage. As the new year, we pray that the curses of last year should be behind us and only blessings should be ahead. The blessing we need this year is to see the return of the remaining 48 hostages for whom we pray each day. Do not give up. Do not waver. Do not falter. We must do all we can to make sure they are not forgotten and that they are brought home to Israel. Israel High.
Israel High.
That concludes the speeches. I've been asked to inform everyone that there is something for people to sign over in the back corner for the Heaton Park Hebrew congregation and people selling calendars to raise funds for the hostage families. I'm now going to welcome Serge Fagelman to the stage, who will conclude the rally with some poignant songs and the national anthems. Thank you.
Because it's like, yeah, hold on a second. Hold up. What I need to do is try and get things like that. I'll just push the other around it.
Shir למדו סיני להרים ליין יבוא אבי
Let's go have a little butchers.
סימאים השם עושה שמיים וארץ אל ייתן לנו רגליך
Send you the picture. Bye.
We want to stand here with the solidarity with the people, guys. Show our love and respect for all the Jewish people that have been made victims of by these cruel terrorist movements in Britain. God bless us all that fight the good fight. God bless us all that stand up to tyranny and oppression. For justice, we are the ones that will stand for it. And we need to make sure that we make sure the police do too. to the people of Manchester that came out to stand with the Jews and all the Jewish. They are all my friends and Muslims, everyone who will stand together and say no more killing. And that's the problem you're going to find if anyone said, oh, Israel's a problem, or Palestine's a problem. No. Let's just stop killing guys. No more death. There's only one side that are really doing it. Israel are not doing it. So I think what we'll do is we'll go and find Antifa, right? And we will be back very soon, guys. What's the time now? I think it's nearly 1:30. Somewhere within the next half an hour. Probably within the next hour we'll be back live, and we'll be having fun with some Antifa members. So tune in an hour, and I will see you soon. Everyone, take care. God bless, and I love you.